ABC 17 News at 6:30 on KMIZ starts now.
Vaccination eligibility will soon expand to all adults across the Show Me State. Thanks for joining us tonight on ABC 17 News at 6:30. I'm Deborah Kendrick. Lucas Geisler has a night off. An estimated 1.1 million Missourians will get access to vaccines against COVID-19 under Phase 3. We are checking in with local healthcare experts about this expansion and to see how other vaccination efforts are going. Joining me now is the owner of Flo's Pharmacy, Anthony Deshay, and MU Healthcare's Director of Pharmacy, Brad Myers. Thank you both so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time. I know our viewers do as well. A question for both of you, and Brad, we can start off with you to answer this. So all Missourians will be eligible to get a coronavirus vaccine tomorrow. How are preparations going, and are you ready?
Thank you again for having us tonight. Preparation is going fantastic. We're excited that the state is opening up to all Missourians. As you may be aware, Biden is opening up to all citizens U.S. on April 19th, so we're a little bit ahead of the curve here in Missouri. We are prepared. We do have an event at Road Fields next week on April 15th, 16th, and 17th, where we will be able to administer about 6,800 vaccines to our community members that are eligible, which would be anyone that would like the vaccine.
Sure. And Anthony, how about for yourself? Are you all ready for the more people, being eligible?
We are, yeah. We're not quite at the level Mizzou's at.
Sure.
We're looking to do probably 600 to 800 next week. Same thing, except we're doing Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then Friday we're doing just all Johnson & Johnson on Friday. We have a drive-through. It's not quite full, but it's almost full for that drive-through.
Okay. And as far as appointment availability is concerned, I know that, do you guys have any appointment slots available for tomorrow? Are you doing any sort of special clinic for people tomorrow?
We're not. No, we're actually doing an off-site clinic tomorrow with one of the employers here in town. And then our appointments next week are open as far as I know. I haven't looked at the list quite yet.
Okay, sounds good. As far as, this next phase rolling out, on Tuesday during a meeting with some state leaders, there were some talks of some fewer available doses of the vaccine that will actually be allocated for people across the state and also from pharmacies. What is your thought on that from the initial doses that were supposed to be administered and given to you guys?
From MU Healthcare perspective, we were fortunate to be designated as a high throughput system by the state. And so we've actually had a regular cadence of vaccines, particularly usually between 4,000 and 4,600 vaccines every 2 weeks. We do anticipate that opportunity moving forward as well, at least through this next month or so, as we follow closely the trends in terms of the volume of appointments that are filled, and follow that closely to determine sort of where do we go after that.
Okay, and for Anthony Deshay, how about your reaction to that as well?
Kind of the same with him, but on, again, a smaller scale.
Sure.
We partner with the Missouri Pharmacy Association, and we've continued to see those coming in every week and no interruptions. We are also partnered with AmerisourceBergen, and they're sending us the Johnson & Johnsons. So I have yet to see or hear of any interruptions on our end. So other than that, nothing.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Now, as far as the percentage of people who get the first dose, we did a story earlier this week about some people not showing up to get that second dose. From both of your perspectives, is there a large percentage of people not showing up to get the second dose, or kind of what's the percentage breakdown?
Sure, that's a data point we track closely. If you look at some of the published articles across the country, we've seen rates up as high as 15% no-show for the second dose. What we are showing here at MU Healthcare through our events is we're about 1% to 2% no-show rate for the second doses. I think a lot of that has to do with our communication, our reminder emails that we send out prior to the second appointment. But our rates have been 1% to 2% no-show rates so far for second dose.
Sure. And Anthony, how about for yourself?
Same. I asked today, I had them kind of look it over, and we're at about 98%, 1 or 2, maybe 3% people not showing up. And I think it helps. We're so small. We're able to, physically out call them and just make sure they're coming in. There's a few that, they've gotten it elsewhere, or we fulfilled their second dose because they were out of town. But no, the overall turnout's been 98% probably.
Okay, and Brad Myers, remind our viewers as to, obviously it's important to get that second dose vaccine.
It is critical. It is the data that was published and reviewed by the FDA looks at the community members receiving 2 doses. So the data is published in terms of 95% efficacy, avoidance of hospitalizations and severe disease. It's based off of receiving 2 doses. So I would highly encourage any community member that received the first dose to make that effort to also receive the second dose. Once again, that's how those medications receive approval by the FDA, and that's the literature that we have to support it.
Sure. And, as more people in Missouri are going to be eligible tomorrow to get the vaccine if they want it, remind our viewers, Brad, what sort of reactions or side effects could be present with the first dose and also the second dose, and how do those compare?
Okay, sure. Typical reactions you would see with any vaccine, particularly like, for example, flu vaccine. Many people will experience a sore arm. We tend to see a few additional side effects for the second dose, which is going to be a low-grade fever potentially, may feel tired. That typically only lasts about 24 hours. So I think the benefits of that, receiving that second dose and being tired and having a sore arm far outweighs actually receiving COVID and having some of the severe effects of it.
Sure. And Anthony, the question is for you as well. I know you're not as much on the clinical side of this, but what do you guys tell people when they are getting vaccinated of the possible side effects?
So pretty much the same thing. I tell people I feel like I'm reading Miranda rights off a card. I've done it so many times. Just to look out flu-like symptoms, fever, aches, chills. We're telling them to stay hydrated. It's not going to hurt, if they do. But other than that, yeah, your typical flu symptoms, things like that, a sore arm, maybe a whelp, a rash, something like that. And in that case, to call us.
Okay. All right, Anthony and Brad Myers, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. This live conversation still continues right after the break. Welcome back. We continue our live conversation on the COVID-19 pandemic tonight at 6:30. If you're just now joining us, we are speaking with MU Healthcare's Brad Myers and the owner of Flo's Pharmacy, Anthony Deshay. Thank you both again for sticking around and joining us. So this question is one that I've seen a lot of, and I've just heard a lot of questions about this. If you've had COVID-19, how long are you protected essentially from possibly getting it again? And Brad, you may be best to answer this one.
Great question. Unfortunately, we don't really have an answer at this point in terms of how long the antibodies are at a level that would protect us against receiving COVID again.
Sure.
That's one of the kind of unknowns at this point. Also, in terms of if you receive the vaccine, how long will sort of the quote unquote the vaccine work? That's data that we're still hoping to get over the next few months. If you think about the clinical trials with the vaccines, are still really ongoing right now. And some of the people that were in those trials are still being evaluated in terms of how long those antibodies that will help protect us against COVID will last.
Right. And do you have any suggestions on people that, let's say they test positive for COVID, how long they have to wait until they can get the vaccine? Is it safe for them to get the vaccine?
It is safe. The CDC has specific guidelines in terms of community members that were COVID positive and the vaccine. It's recommended that you wait at least 10 days after symptom resolution to receive the vaccine.
Okay, and kind of something that we were just talking about, within the last week, Pfizer and Moderna have come out to say that they believe their vaccines can protect, someone from getting COVID for about 6 months. So we're looking around, September, October, possibly for maybe that next wave of people to get another round of coronavirus shots. Is that kind of the same timeline you're thinking, or?
It's speculation at this point.
Yeah.
I would anticipate that we will have to see a booster shot at some point. But at this point, we have to wait for the data to tell the story.
Okay. And Anthony, this question is for you. What sort of increase in demand did you see with the phase 2 part of the plan going into effect on March 29th? Did you see a lot of influx, people really wanting the vaccine during that time?
I don't feel like we really did. I feel like our list has always been long. Over the past few weeks, it has, significantly dropped. I'll be interested to see starting tomorrow and moving forward where it's going. But I feel like from, each phase, we just kind of transitioned, when people would call us, we would put them on the list for the phase they were in. And then it was just a very easy transition for us to just say, once we're done with this list, we can move to this, you know, and so on and so forth.
Okay. And I mean, even just locally, we're seeing more, you know, these sorts of like clinics, and they're like, hey, we have a lot of extra open slots if you want one. I mean, is it people maybe not wanting to get it, or do you have any sort of insight as to maybe why it's kind of slowed down a little bit?
Brad, I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's really been if you look at some of the data that's out there published by the state, you know, Boone County, for example, leads the state in terms of percentage of community members with at least an initial vaccine. Cole County, I believe, is 5th or 6th in the state in terms of percentage. I think what I see is just the community coming together. We have large mass vaccination events with EMU Healthcare. We have Boone Health that's providing vaccines at the Columbia Mall. We have SSM in Cap Region and Jeff City. We have the health department, we have flows, we have Walgreens. So I think the communities really come together to get the word out in terms of, you know, vaccines available. Every one of the vaccinators seem to have sign-up processes that are somewhat easy to navigate.
And there's
for
a
me,
lot
I
of
think
options,
it's just really
I feel
community
like.
coming together and working together to do what's right for our community and vaccinate as many as we can.
Right, and I feel like there's a lot of options too. People can they have a lot to choose from essentially whenever they get vaccinated from too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is there's so many different places here in town. Like we're old school, you know, still pen and paper.
Right.
Whereas, you know, for those people that don't know how to navigate the internet or sign up on there, I think, took a lot of that population just because it was easier for them to call us and say, hey, here's my name, put me on a list, and then call them. Whereas, you know, the younger people or the people that are tech savvy, you know, could easily go on and put their name on all the lists.
Right.
And like he said, I think, yeah, just everyone in the community is in this together. We're all, you know, we're vaccinating as many as we can every day.
That is just to echo Anthony with that. Each of our vaccinators in our community feel like we play to our strengths.
Yeah,
that's a big difference. EMU Healthcare is really good at volume. Flows, for example, is really good at reaching some of those areas that we may not be able to get to, less tech savvy. So that's what I've seen in our areas. We play to our strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you both so much. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back after this. Welcome back. Our conversation continues tonight with Flo's pharmacy owner, Anthony Deshay, and MU Healthcare's Brad Myers. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking around with us and helping us answer some of these questions. This question is really, so do you have any sort of groups, companies, or school districts that you're working with or planning to work with in terms of getting some of these vaccination clinics or partnerships continuing? And Anthony, you can answer this question first.
Yeah, we've actually got quite a few. And I think that when we were talking earlier about, you know, working together as a community, the universities, you know, they're so big, they've got the one clinic, you know, going 3,000, 4,000 shots. Whereas people like us can reach out to the, you know, businesses, and we've worked with a lot of businesses and a few school districts. And actually we come to you, they've got the room set up and we do, you know, just a clinic right there. And it makes it easy for us and them for rescheduling.
Okay, and Brad, how about for yourself?
Yeah, Anthony hit it on the head. You know, we're playing to our strength, which is mass volumes. We are going to be partnering with the health department. We have more details going to be released in the next day or so in terms of partnering to receive some of the vaccines that have been allocated to the health department to administer here at MU Healthcare, in addition to some help from the National Guard as well.
Okay, and my very last question, and Brad, you probably would have a really good insight on this. We were talking earlier about Boone County being one of the top counties in the state when it comes to vaccination rates. Why do you think this is the case?
Once again, it goes back to, I think, the communities come together in terms of the vaccinators. We have, you know, like I said, we have MU Healthcare, we have Boone Health, we have the health department, we have many independent pharmacies like Flo's, Kilgore's, DNH, as well as Walgreens in town that have opened up the doors to administer the vaccines. I think to me that's why we're seeing Boone County as well as Cole County as well, top 5 or 6 in the state in terms of initiating vaccines.
Sure. Okay, well, Brad, Anthony, thank you so much for both joining us tonight for this live conversation on the COVID-19 pandemic. We appreciate both of your insights on this. We're going to be back here next Thursday with another round of live interviews. And remember, you can always find the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic posted in our daily blog. That's all on abc17news.com.